us through why I quit Netflix. So I know Jen is asking for, or her talk is going to include a lot of engagement, so please do participate. So just show of hands here if you do have a Netflix account. Wow, you guys actually pay for Netflix? Wow, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. It's people like you. It's people like you that we need in this place. So, yeah.
No one shared this with us.
So I will pass it on to Jen and you're good. Cool. Do you want me to tap it? Or do you want to do it? I can do it for you, whatever you want. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jen. Um, Akram's been bothering both me and George for some time to come in and speak, and we've both been telling him we're not speakers.
Still bothering.
So I'm not a speaker. I'm not well versed in scripture or theology. But one thing I can offer today is just a simple story, an experience that I went through, and hopefully you can take whatever, if anything, from it. But before we start, I want to go around the room and everyone just share your name. And I'm going to ask you a question. What would you do if you were to get or receive $10,000 a week for the rest of your life? What would you do with that money? Okay, so we'll go around the room, state your name, and what would you do with $10,000 every week for the rest of your life? You want to start which side? Akram, go for it.
$10,000 a week. I would.
It's a week and then like the whole year.
I quit my job. I would travel. I would definitely travel. Yeah.
Okay. Yusuf? Don't forget to state your name for people who don't know. I'm sure everyone knows you, Akram.
We can travel together.
Okay. I'll do that. I'll work a couple of days a month.
Okay. Mariana? Mariana?
I'd quit my job.
Okay. Think big. What else would you do?
Maybe start my own business.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Fatty. I'll probably travel too.
Okay. In the back?
Myrna.
Myrna?
I think I'd also agree with the travel part.
Okay.
I would
That's
travel
okay,
too.
guys.
At this rate, we're just going to charter a plane.
Okay.
Moret.
Moret.
I do like the traveling idea. I would have
It is, yeah. Okay. Okay, in the back.
Fatty.
Fatty.
Pretty much I'll do everything decent. So I'll quit my job, start my own business, and travel.
Okay,
Basically,
cool.
10,000 a week.
Cool.
Marina.
Marina.
I would still do the traveling, but aside from that, I would probably adopt dogs.
Oh,
Like stray dogs.
cool.
Do my own shelter.
Nice. Very cool. Okay.
Kiro, I'd probably do something really stupid like buy some magic beans or buy a garage.
That's the best answer.
40 grand a month won't cut that.
At
least 50 grand.
Don't turn down $1 million.
Okay, Mike.
For me, I would definitely like to do some traveling or some nice experiences like eating some good food and things like that. So.
Cool. Joe.
Because it's my turn.
Yeah.
I would travel, but I would also live in the forest.
We live in the forest. Do you need $10,000 a week to live in the forest?
No, I think you need like $100 an hour.
Peter.
Hi, Peter.
I would tackle climate change.
Whoa, that is a good one. Okay. You in the back?
Mina, I think I would start my own business as well.
Your own business? Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Sandy.
Sandy?
I think I'd invest them, then think of cooler stuff.
Cool. Cool. So for those who are just walking in the room, a little bit of a crowd came in. We're just going around the room Just state your name and what you would do with $10,000 a week for the rest of your life. So we kind of ended off in this area.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi, hi. I haven't seen you in so long.
Not you. What do I do $10,000 a week? I don't know. More vacations.
More vacations?
Yeah.
Okay. And your name for everybody in the room?
Hi, I'm John.
Okay.
John.
John, yeah.
Third-time chairman.
Go ahead.
Me?
Yep.
Mike and travel.
Travel.
Lewis, more of a serious answer, but probably Thai Summit, invest some of it,
Okay.
travel more, go on vacation, buy a nice house.
Nice,
and,
nice.
last thing, go part-time at my job.
Amazing. Cool. And then you in the back?
Alfred,
Alfred.
start my own business and travel.
Okay, cool.
Mina, I quit my job. I get
No
my
one likes your job.
It's really sad. Okay.
My turn?
Yeah.
Mina, is it $10,000 or 100,000?
$10,000 a week.
Not enough?
A week, 10,000.
A week for the rest of your life.
Oh, a week
Yeah.
for the rest of my life? Probably half investing, half the other time would be kind of traveling, taking a bit of vacation, but not a lot of traveling.
Okay. Cool.
Can you tell me where I can get that $10,000 a week? Does this job pays that? Because I will gladly switch careers right now.
So would I.
No, I'd probably spend 30% of it on investments, probably in the financial market, and then I'd take 50% and spend it on real estate and other things.
Okay.
Like maybe a private jet. And then the last little bit I'd probably spend on supercars.
Oh, cool. Very calculated answer.
Yeah.
There's some people at the back that just came in now.
Yes. Let's go back to the front. George.
My name is George. I like how you've allocated. So 30% I'd probably spend on food. And I would put away 50%. You have to burn through it?
Yes.
Oh man. So I'll revise that. 50% on food, and then the rest on I'd tithe, and I would do some sort of passion project and travel.
Okay, cool. How about you, Buna? 10,000.
I like that travel, but I would diversify my travel. One of my dreams, not sure if it's possible, is travel to the moon, the outer space.
Oh,
If
really?
there is such a ticket to travel back and forth, I would definitely save for this to see like the globe kida from the
Very
moon,
cool.
and then come back and discover the rest of the
Amazing.
places on Earth.
Very cool.
Okay. Okay.
About 250,000 a ticket.
So for those who just kind of walked in, we went around the room, just introduce yourself and just state what you would do with $10,000 a week for the rest of your life. So,
State your name too.
George. Yeah, nice to see you. So many faces I haven't seen in so long. What would you do with
$10,000 a week?
for the rest of your life? Yes.
Quit my job. Yeah.
Okay.
Sleep in for like every single day.
So far you've spent zero.
I'm buying back my time. That's what it is, right? So I don't know. I don't think. I think really the biggest thing for me is just the routine and having to necessarily, having the freedom. It to me is what matters more than anything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it's not about unfortunately that requires money, and that's why I say 10,000. But
Yes.
really, what I would enjoy more is just having more of my time back.
Cool. Joe.
I'm probably more along the side of what George was doing.
Eat?
Eat and use it for like something that I'm passionate about.
Okay. Rami?
Exactly.
You could let it simmer. If you don't have an answer now, you can pass.
I pass.
You pass? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass too.
Pass?
So hi, my name is George.
Hi, George.
There's a lot of Georges. Wow.
Yeah, I just realized that actually. So I'm actually by coincidence, I'm here to talk to you all about today about St. John for this Sunday. so this is kind of what at the end we'll talk about this, but St. John is it's kind of like Sunday suppers. It's
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's a service.
for everyone here for Costandi. So actually, 5 years in St. John.
Cool.
That's what I'm really passionate about. So
Amazing.
there's a lot of things that would happen over there.
I thought you were gonna say by coincidence I make 10 grand.
Yeah. Anyone else? Name and what you would do with $10,000 a week. Sorry, for the rest of your life. Nancy, you didn't go.
I'd probably just travel.
Travel, okay. Anybody else? That I lost track of people walking in. Anyone else back there?
We didn't hear your answer.
My answer.
Yeah.
Well, you'll learn a little bit about me. But with $10,000 a week, I would definitely quit my job with like everybody else. Traveling would be in there. I would start my own business.
Supercars.
Not really into cars. I'll probably still drive a Civic or something. But traveling is definitely up there. Okay, so we'll jump right into it. So just wanted to share with you my story. So on Sunday, September 30th, 2018, my husband and I unsubscribed from Netflix. And we had put our son to sleep that night. His name is Nazareth. We went downstairs, sat on the couch, and we did what we typically would do. Turn on Netflix, continue a series that we were in, or start something new, until we couldn't keep our eyes open anymore. And then we would just go upstairs and pass out. So that night, we did that routine, went upstairs, and I just didn't feel good. Something was not sitting right. And it took me a very long time to figure out what was wrong and what didn't sit right. I was sick of sitting on the couch and binge watching Netflix. And I felt like Netflix consumed my life and took over everything. Everything revolved around finishing the day, getting everything that we needed to get done, and meeting on the couch to watch TV. We barely talked. The time that we have to talk was the time when our son is down, and we weren't talking. We were both looking straight at the TV. And I felt very guilty for wasting a lot of time, and I felt suffocated. And so I just said all this to George, and George was like, okay. He pulls out his phone. He's like, let's unsubscribe. I'm like, no. Wait, don't do that. And he's like, well, if it's causing you all of this grief, it's just simple, just to unsubscribe. And so we went back and forth debating whether or not we should unsubscribe. It was more of, wait, like, why did I even speak? I shouldn't have said anything. I really don't want to unsubscribe. But then we ended up unsubscribing. And we haven't been back on Netflix since. It's been over a year and a little bit. And it has completely changed our life. Just to kind of show a little graph on, or a little chart on what our life looked like, just to put it into perspective. Back then I used to work from home, so I would wake up at 8 o'clock. I didn't have to do the morning commute. I'd work, go upstairs, work from 9 to 5, pick up our son from school. We'd have our family time from 5 to 8, rush to put him to bed, and then pretty much between 8 and 11, we would sit down on the couch and watch TV. Did a little bit of math. 3 hours a day times 365 days in the year, divided by 24 hours, is 45.6 days. That is a month and a half of my life per year sitting down on a couch watching TV. Let's look at what we covered over that month and a half. Covered Grey's Anatomy. Any Grey's Anatomy fans in here? One. Friends, Parenthood. I think I finished Parenthood like in 4 days straight. Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, 13 Reasons Why, which was extremely depressing. Downton Abbey, Outlander, The Crown, Atypical, and many, 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 many more. This is kind of what I can think of when I was typing this up.
How about Daredevil?
No, I didn't get through that one. And this is just Netflix. Like, this isn't like the movies we would watch, like, off schedule. And this is not being on my phone, on Instagram. This is like in addition to all the other time wasters in my life. And I really did feel like I was wasting my life. Any other big popular TV shows I'm missing, or Netflix shows you can think of?
There's a new series called The Squad.
The Spy? No, I wouldn't know any new ones. I'm outdated since 2018.
I think Daredevil was finishing that year, 2018, and I think some movies came out that year as well.
Amazing.
I got one for those who are not going to cancel.
That's next week's talk.
Hilarious.
Next week's talk, I'll do it. Why you shouldn't. We'll all start the blacklist, but you can't skip ahead. The blacklist
So
is amazing.
funny.
I mean, I'm talking like overnight, like 3 weeks
Yeah,
straight.
yeah.
I worked from home and I did not do the 9 to 5.
And that's the problem. Even so, when we worked from home, so there was a period of time where George and we both worked from home.
That's just bad news.
Exactly, and we had Netflix, and like I think I did my 9 to 5 job in like a day and a half, because I'm not saying the rest was on Netflix, but we just wasted so much time. What did this do to me? So I just kind of put here some things that this did to my life. I was tired. I was exhausted. Because you know when you're just like in a lull, you're brain dead, you're not being physically active, you're not doing anything. I was addicted. I couldn't wait to find out what was next. And to get to that couch, I felt unsatisfied, I felt guilty, I felt desensitized. What really surprised me is before Netflix, I was very uncomfortable with swearing and people around me swear. I like cringed every time I heard swear words. But then when I'm watching TV and Netflix, I became desensitized to it. Like it didn't bother me anymore. So like my standards went down. I felt guilty. I talked about that. I felt sad. You carry the burdens of these fake characters on TV. So like going back to Grey's Anatomy, when McDreamy died, I was crushed.
He died?
Yeah, he died. You don't know that? When breakups happen on TV, I felt like I was in the relationship and I felt like I was breaking up. Going back to 13 Reasons Why, it took me weeks to get over that. It added zero value. Like there's not one positive word up here. So it added zero value to my life. And I was clearly wasting precious time that God had given me. So I was actually listening to a sermon by Father Anthony, and he used an interesting analogy. This kind of brings us back to why my initial question of what would you do with $10,000 every week. So here's the analogy. Imagine a new bank opened up and was giving away $10,000 every Monday. You could do whatever you want with it. You can pay your debt, you can buy a supercar, you can go shopping, whatever. But there's only one rule. And that one rule is you need to spend that $10,000 by the following Monday. And if you don't spend it, then you lose that money. You got to give it back. But the next Monday you can get another $10,000. So what would you do? Would you say that it's too much effort to get up and go to the bank to get that $10,000? Or would you go to the bank?
Go to the bank.
Right. It's you would go to the bank and you would take that $10,000. And there's so much that I would do with that $10,000. I would put it towards my mortgage, I would travel, like what we talked about, start businesses, I would save for my son's school, whatever. But I would never waste the opportunity to get a free $10,000 a month. Who would? But did you know that every week God gives us 10,000 minutes every single week? It's actually 10,080 minutes every single week. And he gives us that 10,000 minutes every single week to do whatever we want with. Those 10,000 minutes are essentially our currency that can change our life. And we can use those 10,000 minutes on so many things. We could use it on our careers. We can use it on our relationships. We can use it to spend time with family. We can choose to sleep all day. But at the end of the week, those 10,000 minutes are gone. And you will never have them back again. And at the end of the week, you only have the return of what you invested your time in. So at the end of my 45.6 days of watching Netflix a year, I have nothing to say that I did I accomplished absolutely nothing, and I gained absolutely nothing with those 45.6 days. I was distant from God. I wasn't investing in my marriage. I wasn't actioning any aspirations that I had in life, and I had some. I still have some, but I wasn't doing anything about it. So I believe that everyone in this room, has an aspiration in their lives. In your life, you have a goal that you want to achieve. And your success in achieving this goal ultimately depends 100% on how you spend your 10,000 minutes a week. Some people use their 10,000 minutes a week very wisely. Some people use it to cure cancer, research, to invest in amazing relationships and friendships. Some use it to read the Bible. Some use it to evangelize. So the question is, how are we all using our 10 minutes that God gives us each week? St. Paul tells us in Ephesians 5:15-16, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." So I kind of put a little bit of translation there. See that you live. Circumspectly means intentionally, so carefully. Because the days are evil is kind of telling you or telling us that time's not on our side. Time is going to run by, and it's going to run by quick. So see then that you live intentionally, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because time is not on our side. Ephesians 5:15-16. The worst feeling, and I feel this almost every year, hopefully this year will be different for me, but every December 31st, sitting in church, I reflect back and I think, first of all, wow, this year went by extremely fast, and wow, nothing has changed in my life. I'm not reading the Bible anymore. I'm not praying anymore. There's absolutely nothing that I can say that has kind of improved, or I did anything big in my life, and it's such an awful feeling. And I wish and I pray that one day that I can sit there in the back of the church on December 31st and say, wow, this year I really picked up the Bible and I got to read the Bible, or wow, this year I finally developed some sort of prayer life, or this year I finally achieved this goal or that goal. I don't want to look back on the year and say nothing has changed in my life. So as we're winding down 2019 and looking forward to the new year, I want to take control of 2020. I don't want it to just pass by. I want to make the most of it and the most of the rest of my life. We need to use those 10,000 minutes God gives us every day to get somewhere with a purpose, not just kind of let time go and end up where we end up. So let's talk about how we are going to make the most of 2020. So there are 3 turning points that will help us do this, and you can apply it to absolutely anything. So the 3 turning points are the first one is turn when into now. Second one is turn intentions to actions, and the last one is turn my whole heart to Jesus. And we'll just go through each of these briefly. So turn when into now. So I would love to remove the word when and just absolutely and replace it with now. How many times have we said, when this blank, then I will blank. When winter's over, then I will start working out. When my busy season at work is done, then I'll pick up the Bible. Or when I get married, or when I have kids, then. We frequently use the when excuse. George and I used the when excuse quite frequently. We would delay date nights and spending quality time together. We would delay investing in our relationship. Sometimes we would say, like, when we get through the season of Troy, then we'll go out for a date, but tonight let's just get through it, or when whatever. Let's not make excuses. There's never going to be a good time Just turn when into now. You can live your whole life saying when, and when will never come. So just pick up your phone. I'm not saying that the Netflix situation applies to you, but using my Netflix analogy, just pick up your phone and unsubscribe. Find out what is wasting your valuable time, and do something about it. Okay? Second thing is turn intentions into actions. Everyone take a moment and think about something God wants you to accomplish in 2020. I'm not going to ask you to share it. Just think about something in your head. Maybe he wants you to spend more time with family. Maybe he wants you to have a healthier lifestyle. Maybe he wants you to spend more time with him. Or maybe he wants you to get your finances in order. Whatever it is, think of that one thing. There's a verse in the book of James that actually really hit home for me. The verse is, therefore, to him who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is a sin. James 4:17. Okay, I'm going to repeat it one more time. Therefore, to him who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin. So this applies to us, and this applies to whatever we know that God wants us to do in our life. So if we were to replace those words with, if we know that God wants us to start a business, and if we don't do it, it is a sin. Or if we know that God wants us to visit our neighbor, and we don't do it, to him, it is sin. Another example is if we know that God wants us to apologize to this person, and we don't do it, to him, it is a sin. So that really kind of struck home with me. I'm reading that. One thing on this one, once we've actioned our intentions, no matter how simple or how small it is, it's an investment that we've made. We've made to our goal or made to our aspirations that you're just getting a step closer to. So by us doing that simple thing of unsubscribing was that simple action that we took to get one step closer to our goal. So no matter how small that investment is, that'll help us get to turning our intentions to our actions. And lastly, turn my whole heart to Jesus. So all of us, we're all Christians. We love Jesus. But what do you think would happen to a marriage if we treated our relationship with Jesus? What do you think would happen to our marriage if we treated the relationship that we have with our spouse like how sometimes we treat Jesus? What would a marriage look like if you woke up in the morning and you didn't say good morning? Or if your spouse cooked you an amazing dinner and you ate it without speaking or even saying thank you? Or going to bed without saying good night to that spouse? That wouldn't be a good relationship. And this is how we treat Jesus sometimes. So we need to think about in 2020, how do we invest in our relationship with the Lord? How are we going to invest our 10,000 minutes each week with him and give our whole heart to him? This will definitely add to making the most of 2020. So this is my last slide. I just thought I would share with you, again, part of my story of what I did this year with an extra 45.6 days, right? So over a year has gone by since we've quit Netflix. So I gained this much time in my life, unbelievably. So the first thing is turned when into now. Me and George talk now. I'm not saying we didn't talk before, but we've had really deep, meaningful discussions. We developed a stronger friendship, a stronger relationship. We put each other first, and we did it intentionally. And we did it right away, and we spent quality time this past year like we had never had before. The second thing that we did, so turn actions into now. So this is not just a really cute picture of our son. It is a very cute picture of our son. But if you're to notice what he's wearing his pajamas. And these pajamas have Noah on it, a boat, a rainbow. So they're pajamas of Noah's Ark. This is actually a business that me and my husband started, Christian Children's Pajamas. Um, and this is something that we have been wanting to do for so long. We've always wanted to start a business together, but we never did anything about it. We just sat on it for a very long time. And by us taking out all that time that we spent on Netflix and replacing it with actions like starting our own business, allowed us to do it. Please pray for us. We haven't launched yet, but they're in production. The pajamas are being made right now, and we're really excited. They should be shipped to us by the end of January.
This isn't a sermon. This is a commercial.
Yeah. So when we launch, please buy them. Between ages 2 to 6, onesies and 2 pieces.
You need a size large for the large guys.
Maybe one day.
Okay.
Maybe one day. Pray for us.
Has it been working? So the cat's out of the hat officially. Okay. So this is guys. I've known them for a very long time, and this has been something that they told me about this idea about 2 years ago. So when Jenny talks about like getting rid of Netflix and spending time and investing time, they put a lot of effort into this. So just to see it come to life, where the time is actually well spent. And I've seen some of the pajamas, and they look really cute too. So for those who have nieces and nephews, and maybe in George's ask, I guess you do adults.
I would buy it, honestly.
No, but it is a true testament that when you put time aside and you invest it into something that's healthy, that's worth the time, it makes a lot more it's a lot more feasible and a lot more rewarding.
Thanks, Aki. And the last box of turning my whole heart to Jesus, I'm working on it. And I'm praying that 2020 is a new year on this specific topic. Ask you to pray. This specific topic. I ask you to pray for me. But I would love to make 2020 about giving my heart to Jesus. Maybe I should start now. I don't know. Turn my actions, my when into now. Shouldn't wait for 2020. So that's what we did with an extra 45.6 days. So now I'm going to ask you 2 more questions, kind of similar to how we started off. But instead of asking you what you would do with $10,000 a week, let's change it to 10,000 minutes a week. So what would you do with your 10,000 minutes per week in 2020? Think about something that you've always wanted to do, that you've been putting off, that you keep saying, when blank, then I will blank. And then the second question is, what will you take out of your life that is stealing your God-given time to do it? So take a minute, think about those things. And think about like when I was reflecting on what was stealing my time, like there's so much out there. Our phones are such a big thing. Like we all know it. I'm not gonna kind of go into those details. Hanging out with friends in an unproductive way, maybe like sitting around gossiping. I don't know, like what is in our life that is taking over everything that we need to remove so that we can take a step closer to what we want to accomplish. So 2 questions is, what will you do with your 10,000 minutes per week in 2020? Think about something that you've been putting off that you want to do, and what will you take out of your life to help you get there? So just think about it for 30 seconds, and then I would love if anybody wants to share. It would be awesome to hear your thoughts. Rami.
I think the point you touched on is valid to say that it applies to so many addictions, as we could quote unquote, where Netflix has just turned into a society of addictions, where they put something out and you get it on your phone, you can watch it download it at work, watch it on your car on the way home, on the subway, whatever it is. It's amazing to see it put together with the time. I really enjoyed that. I think it almost
Interesting.
it opened a lot of insight. It was very nice. Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you
I know
for
I didn't
that
answer your
feedback.
questions, but
No, thank you. That's great. Great to hear your thoughts. Anybody want to share what they're going to do with their 10,000 minutes? Take out. No pressure, but it would be nice. Start in the back and then move your name was Mean. No, am I wrong?
Luna, we have another one of people that never remember my name.
Vanessa, I'm not Vanessa.
I'm wrong, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, I think I would get off of social media. I don't think I spend as much time on Netflix. I usually leave Netflix running overnight, as bad as this sounds. I don't know. I don't really watch Netflix all that much, but I would get off of social media and spend more time with like my friends and family, like in person.
Yes.
And I feel like I spend more time sending memes to my friends than I do actually saying, "How was your day?" or "What are you doing with your life right now?"
Yeah.
So I think that's probably what I would invest it in. I do agree with you that when you take a look at the 10,000 minutes, you never think about God. And when you said the $10,000 per week, for some reason, I mean, obviously you would donate some of it because that's so much money, but I never even thought about God. But then seeing you be like, oh, it's 10,000 minutes, I was like, well, yeah, I would dedicate a percentage of that to God, but I didn't dedicate a percentage of that money to God. So it was a really interesting perspective to see how I would spend my time versus my money.
Amazing. On that note of social media, you just reminded me. Before Netflix, I actually got off of Facebook like a few years back. I don't know how long it's been now. But when I was talking, that slide about what the feelings that I had from watching Netflix, like sad, blah, 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 like whatever your addiction is or thing that's sucking your time, I'm pretty sure it's probably generating some sort of negative feeling or negative like mindset or distraction. And going back to Facebook, it's just filled with like bad news, like from all over the world. Like I would see so much bad news, and then it just opens the opportunity to compare yourself for jealousy or whatever. So when I got off Facebook, it was just like so liberating. I'm still on Instagram, and I'm working. I don't think I can quit Instagram yet, but I would love to one day be able to say I quit Instagram, but I'm not there yet.
You need to turn when into now.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. Yeah, don't touch my phone. Does someone have any? Oh, yep.
So I really like the whole topic because it's something that's dear to my heart. I quit Instagram a couple of years ago.
Nice.
But no, I wasn't one of those people who. But I had an app on my phone that showed me how much time I spent on each app. And I was spending a ridiculous amount of time. As soon as you're bored or alone, you just turn it on and you swipe, and it's one of those like. I read some stuff about it, and it messes with your brain. But since then, so I've had all these extra hours, and I'm sure I used to spend more like 8 hours a day on social media. But unless you replace it, or unless you fill your time with something that is, that's going to give you that quote unquote high, that release of endorphins, you're gonna just slide into something else. And for me, it was another website called Reddit, and now I spend, like I wake up and I check the Reddit news before I check the real news. But unless you find something else that gives you, because we're all addicted. I feel like we live in just to Rami's point, we live in a society and time that addiction is kind of like a normal thing. Like we're all addicted, so we're all in this together. But I think it's really important to pick something that is gonna help you, whether it's reaching for your Bible or like I don't know, I'm not wrestling there. I don't get endorphins, but I mean, something that's gonna help you kick the old habit and make a good new habit.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I actually wanted to cover that of having a plan. Don't delay your quitting or your addiction, but try and get a plan really quick. Because when we quit Netflix, like sometimes we found ourselves just like sleeping really early, right? Like we would put our son to bed, then we like sleep at 8:30, and then we just translated the time we spent on Netflix to sleeping. So we became very aware of that very quick, of just wasting our time from one thing to another thing. But having a plan would really help. Fill that time. Yes.
I think commute time as well in there, like a chunk of time.
Commute time?
Commute time.
Okay.
Yes. To or from work
Yes.
or school is another chunk of time where we can very easily waste it listening to music and going back to your the question, like swear words become natural to us, and like if you listen to the lyrics themselves of the songs that are on the radio, they're not very healthy for us.
Mhm.
If we can substitute that with listening to a book or a sermon or whatever, you would be very amazed at how much time you are actually wasting, how much time you're making use of right now.
Yes.
Even if you're commuting like 20 minutes a day to work and from work, that's 40 minutes a day of time that you could make good use of listening to something useful.
Amazing. That's a very good point. Yes, Mariana.
So talking about that time, we invested sometimes in toxic things that gets us addicted. And one thing I'm thinking about when you're saying now, what would I have invested in? I would say I would have invested in my mental health because we work long hours, we do hard jobs, we just neglect this part. This is the last part, especially if you work in the healthcare. This is the last part you care about. You just care about your patients, but you don't care about this part about yourself. If I have a chance of quit something I do right now, I would invest in my mental health. Just whatever it is, meditate, sleep early, stop all kinds of toxic addiction that can be affecting me personally, where there's comparison, a lot of stuff like this.
That's a great point. Yusuf, and then we'll go to you.
I'd love to give up Netflix. Not Netflix, Instagram. That's what I was thinking of. It's really hard though. You feel that at least I feel that if I cut that out, I get home, I may not talk to many people, and there in a single app, I can see what's going on in a lot of people's lives simultaneously. And I'd love to read more, right? But it's really tough. Like Facebook to me is whatever now, but anything that involves a social circle where you don't have to speak to anybody, because sometimes you don't want to talk to anybody, and go online and see what's going on. But I definitely love to read more.
Amazing.
Why do you want to read more?
I like learning. Like I'll read, and the funny thing is, like Reddit, I use Twitter a lot. I read a lot of like 2-bit. I don't want to read anything, 50 pages, but I'd rather read like 160
characters.
Yeah, exactly. It's really simple. It's bite-sized. I don't, I find my attention span is zapped.
Yeah.
So, except for this was good. My attention span is zapped. So, when I go and pick up and read a book now, when I'm in bed, I am like, I want to go to sleep. Just crack a book open, break the spine, I'm out. But yeah, I love learning. Like, the irony is I don't learn a thing when I'm doing the other thing. So.
Amazing. There's a hand up here. Yep.
So actually, I was gonna mention there's this app called Ugaru Media. I don't know if you guys know it. It's actually an amazing app where it's from the source from Australia, and it has basically every single priest around the world. It's Coptic Orthodox. Every single priest around the world that, like any sermons from this priest, you'll find it on this app in English. It's all in English, and you could download it all offline at home. And then whenever if you're in the car, anywhere, you could just play it and listen to it. And it also has like amazing blogs on it. The blogs are unreal. It actually has a very similar blog to the topic that you talked about today. It's called Living in the Moment by Father Anthony Messier. It's a very, very similar talk to what you're talking about. So definitely check out this app.
Yes. That's a $10,000 example is from
exactly.
that.
Oh, it is from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listened to that sermon, and I was inspired by it.
Oh, that's a blog.
No, I listened to it on YouTube.
The beauty of this app is there's no other distractions.
Oh,
Nothing pops up on the side and says, "Hey, watch me instead."
No.
Just show it to you. It's
Really?
interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll look into it. I was actually driving when I was listening to it, and I had to turn around my phone so I don't see him like this while I was driving. There was a hand back there.
I
Yeah.
think one of the addictions that we usually fall for is also kind of escaping reality in a way.
Okay.
So you're kind of running out of your problems by in this case, for example, for Netflix, it's kind of like watching a show. So
Mm.
you wanna run out of the reality that your job is boring, or you had a hard day, so you wanna come and relax, and relaxing instead of doing something beneficial, getting stress relief in the gym or something. You would just pop a movie and read it, or um, do something that's really, that it's not going to add value and you're going to feel bad after it, but you do it anyways.
Mhm.
And you think by doing so, you're actually relaxing, but you're not. You're adding the stress. For example, kind of example, you're escaping reality from keeping in touch with people by actually going to social media.
Mm.
Say like, oh, okay, saying the world's like, hey, congrats on whatever happened to you, or whatever. Instead of calling, actually speaking to them, it's kind of like
Yeah.
escaping their reality. So I think that's one addiction that I personally ran into, and once I'm trying to kind of move out of, you find that your list of the things that you want to do is so much that sometimes 10,000, 80 minutes a week is not enough. You would
Mm.
have, like Arnold had a saying where he says, like, you want to sleep 7, 8 hours, you have to sleep faster. Just do it. So it's kind of like you're running out of time.
That's
Just
funny.
figure out a way.
Yeah.
So
That's
I think
awesome.
one of the addiction that we don't realize we're going through is escaping reality, and also getting attracted to negative energy from
Mhm.
people, from
Mhm.
the surroundings, and you're kind of like talking about accidents and how this happened, and a bomb and a fire. You don't want to
Yes.
talk about that the whole day, but you're kind of, this is where you're living, and you're enjoying it and talking to people about it.
Mhm. Yes. That's a very good point. Anybody else? Yes,
Hi,
John.
Jenny. I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate because why not?
Sorry, can you just speak a little louder?
Sure. Surprisingly, no one does that. Everyone tells me to stop. But anyways, so I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Just because, well, it's fun. So why would I want to do this? Out of curiosity. So 3 hours a day, if you wake up in the morning, if you have to commute, whatever, and you're working the whole day doing whatever, answering emails you don't want to answer, going to meetings you're not listening to, and you want to come home.
Sounds like you don't want to work.
You go to, yeah, no, most work for what I do. You want to come home and you go to gym or whatever, and it's like 7, 8 o'clock. You've been exhausted the whole day. You've been, really, let's say, productive the whole day. You just want to, and this is coming from me, like I'm the last person to know how to relax, but you just want to sit there and just like turn your brain off for an hour or two a day. What is so wrong about that?
I'll turn the question back to you guys.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with unwinding. I think, especially with the way that we work and the way that we exhaust ourselves, I think absolutely the mind and the body definitely needs an hour or two to just sit there and do nothing. But to do it 3 times each day of the week is excessive. I think if you were to do it maybe one day, or if you want to break up that 3 hours throughout the week, I think is okay.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. I don't know if I would want to. I don't know if I'd want to sit there for 3 hours Monday through Friday,
No, yeah,
of just doing the same thing.
I
It's
get
just
this.
time management. That's all it is. I mean, anyone that has a life knows the importance of time management, and you just got to know how to allocate your time.
Yeah.
Just to comment about your point, I used to do it exactly like you were saying, like 3 hours I would come in and I'd just crash. But at the end of the day, you would feel like you're actually not turning your brain off. You're actually excessively over,
Stimulating.
it's kind of tensing it in a way. Like you're always kind of thinking, getting involved in that show too much, or getting involved in whatever you're reading on social media, and you're getting that kind of vibe, whether it's negative or positive, and it's not actually happening to you. So instead of actually turning off, you're actually turning it on, but you don't feel it at that point. And the stress you wake up with the next morning, it's actually even, personally, I feel it's even
Yeah,
better.
with me personally, like I can't do 3 hours a day. I absolutely go crazy. Maybe half an hour a day or whatever. But yeah, no, I just need maybe an hour a day or so to just turn my brain off because you've been going on for like X amount of hours a day, and you just need just like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna watch a mindless show for a bit, whether it's whatever,
I'll pass it off to George and then Yusuf, and then Aki's asked me to wrap up. So those two comments, and then we'll, I guess, move to prayer. Go ahead, George.
I don't think Netflix or just chilling and not doing anything is what is in question. I think what the standard is not like the standard is not do something that is worth doing. It's the standard is that we have been given time by God, and we are responsible. We are stewards of that time. Like, you know, the parable where, you know, the man was given, different people were given different talents, and how did they use those talents, right? And that same standard is about time. And so it's not about, like, I mean, you could just be sitting there watching movies about Jesus, like, for 4 hours a day. Like, is that productive? I don't know. Like, we just have to have that standard. It's not the standard that we're being upheld to is in the book of James that she mentioned, which is like, be careful how you use your time, because time is going to work against us. I think, like, losing and that even speaks to working so hard all day and coming home absolutely exhausted. Is that a good use of your time? I don't know. Like, I'd be praying about that. That's I certainly would pray about that. Like, if I'm so done by the end of the day, and I'm not necessarily doing anything for the kingdom, or if I'm not, you know, pursuing my salvation and actually trying to get into heaven, then am I actually being productive? Is this a good enough job for me, or what should I be doing? This is something that I'd be praying about, I'd be talking to my Father confession about, and really wrapping my head around it. Netflix would be the least of your issues. You know what I'm saying? But we get stuck in this, like, cycle, like, in North America, like, you work to live and you live to work, and that's all we do. And then you're just upset, like, of course I want to crash just for a couple of hours. Like, give me a break, right? But I think that the conversation is the calling is way higher. It's about how are you seeking your salvation? How are you, like, you know, at the end of the day, our goal is to get to heaven, and once we get to heaven, we want to fit in. Like, it's all got to be kind of a place we want to be and feel comfortable in. And so if we aren't living in communion with Christ right now, you're going to get up there and you'll be like, man, this place is it's not for me. And actually, it probably won't make the cut if that's how you feel, right? So it's about that. It's about using your time here to be in communion with Christ in any way. I think that's what the standard is. That's what the calling is.
Yusuf, did you want to add anything?
I don't know how to follow that up. So well put. Well, I was just gonna say, to comment on what John was saying. The slide you had all those feelings that you were feeling when, I guess, as a side effect or result of, you know, watching something or binging something or being addicted to something. Fatigue was one of them. And you guys started this business. I guess, you know, you had ambition for it. It could have been a business, could have been a hobby, could have been anything, whatever. But did you guys find energy out of, like, because you said initially that you noticed you guys would be tired after watching or doing this or doing that. Did you find that throughout the day that you guys had a little more kick, you know, in your step and things like that? It's just a question for you guys.
Yeah.
As, you know, in response to John, perhaps if you go home by the end of the day and you've, like, kicked a habit, you'd have more energy by the time you get to the end of the day, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing is removing all those negative shows, like, and those feelings of sadness from watching these bad shows. Like I said it already in my talk. Like, when I would watch a breakup, I felt like I was going through a breakup, or when someone died or whatever, I felt like I lost someone. So imagine, like, removing yourself from all the sadness and bad news. Like, I felt more happy. I felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulder. I was carrying problems of people that were fake, that did not exist. So, like, that was just, like, one simple thing. I wasn't feeling as guilty anymore. I was feeling like I started to feel more productive. And the fact that we were working towards our goal, the one that like this aspiration of starting a business that we did nothing about for a few years, even though we did little by little and small steps by small steps, it was just very motivating and energizing to bring to life.
I'd equate it to like, have you ever been to like a 2 day training? Like an 8 to 5 training where you're sitting just listening to someone? Isn't it crazy how tired you are? Like it's more tiring than like doing your normal job of walking and da 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 da. It's that doing nothing that makes you even more tired than doing something. So like doing nothing and just sitting and watching TV was way more exhausting than just like doing what we wanted to do. So isn't that crazy? Like just sitting there doing nothing makes you even more tired.
Yeah, it's counterintuitive.
Yeah. Whereas being active, you could be killing yourself in the gym, exerting way much more energy, but you're more energetic. And so it's about like getting over that hump where it was like, yeah, like I'm tired now, but I'm turning when into now. I'm gonna do a reconciliation in my mind of all of my goals. I'm gonna plan these things out. I wanna read more. Okay, so I'm gonna schedule this thing and I'm gonna do this. And you'll be more energized, or I believe so.
Thank you guys for your energy, your engagement. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, George, for joining. Though it seems that he was not planning, but he did. Thank you, George, for joining. Maybe I want to share also one thing. Nowadays, I'm interested in neuroscience. I'm sure. Anyone interested in neuroscience? I've been watching like a speaker called Caroline Leaf. Anyone heard about her? She's on YouTube. Actually, she's an amazing speaker. She's a Christian neuroscience, and what she says, everything that we do impacts our brain, physical brain. Any information that we take, any choices, any decisions that we make impacts our brain, how our brain functions. And she kind of mapped it into trees, and how some choices makes the trees green, and how some other choices make the trees inside our brain kind of dots. So depending on choices that we make every day, this is basically it's impacting our brain. So the choice of watching this, not watching this, what to watch, what not to watch, what to do with our time, what to do with our life, our choices, our decisions. This is whether we like it or not. Probably you're searching Caroline Leaf right now. This is already impacting our brain and how we respond, and the health and the well-being of our brain. And one of the pictures is like I think it makes sense that we are created with a tendency towards addiction. We are created with a tendency towards addiction. And that's why this explains the verse, holding or taking every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. So when I train my brain, when I make my brain addicted to the thoughts of Christ, this is when the green trees start to grow. If I hold it captive to anything away, this is when the trees become kind of dulls and dies, or I would become addicted to something else. So it's a choice that we make, and based on these choices that we make, we impact the health and the well-being of our brain and of our mental health and our sight, as well as was mentioned. How does this impact us? So I think it's wonderful to reflect on this on this topic, how to be wise stewards and how to make use of the 10,000 minutes that we have in our life. So again, thank you, Jenny, and thank you.
Just a show of hands if you enjoyed Jenny's talk. Okay, so for those who weren't here earlier, Jenny mentioned that I've been asking forever for George and Jenny to come give a talk. So Jenny's coming, she's finally given her talk, so now the pressure is on George. So we would like to see George come